Man, I froze up completely. Oh, yeah. I'm still
It's one of those days, I swear. Oh, I forgot we were live.
As soon as you hit the button, man, my whole screen froze up.
Completely forgot we were live. Welcome to Look Around the Confederation. Before we begin, please remember our disclaimer that the views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the SCC, its GEC, nor any division, brigade, camps, or any other subsidiaries. I hope we are having a great day. If some of you saw the rerun, we did have some technical issues yesterday. I think we have it fixed. We will be figuring that out at the 4-minute mark or the 14-minute mark. That's when they cut us off. I think it was on our end. I did a lot of I stayed up all night last night to do finals anyway, so when I took a break, I got on the computer and I tried to fix everything on our end. I think I have everything ready. So it will be interesting, to say the least. If we go off air, we'll be going on air again as soon as we can. It's also been brought to my attention that we somehow, before our second hour began on Monday's show, we did go for 2 hours, I think, which was crazy. I don't think we've ever done that. We got cut off the air. Again, I think it was connected to the technical issues we faced Wednesday. I think that we just have too much in the storage right now on my device, my computer, and on StreamYard. So I'll be fixing that as soon as I can. And when we kind of go for our season break, I'll be digging into that stuff and getting it fixed even better. But I did a temporary fix right now. But yeah, we're good. We're here for the season finale of season 1 of Look Around the Confederation.
Wow! Already?
Yeah, dude. This is the last one we do of 2021.
All right, good, because I'm ready for 2021 to be over. This year has sucked.
Amen. Right there with you. I'm trying to pull everything up on my monitor, so if something's wrong with Facebook, let us know. I don't know anything about Facebook security issues. It sucks for Facebook. I have us on YouTube, and if you don't know, every episode is either live at the same time on YouTube or it is live afterwards on YouTube. So if you don't have Facebook, or if you know someone that doesn't, tell them to go to our YouTube page. We're at 90 subscribers now. We're steadily climbing after I kind of neglected our YouTube for a bit. Basically, the majority of season 2 and the majority of season 1 are not on YouTube. But we do have YouTube up now. It's running smoothly, I believe. I finally have Facebook fixed over here. So without further ado, I'll stop interrupting Matt and let Matt get to the news.
Will you? Do we have? Yeah, we got some news.
We got some news. We got some good bit.
Before we get started on the news, let me just say that this week is Army-Navy week, and go Army, beat Navy. So before we get started, that's why I want to say that. Yeah.
I was raised
go Army, beat Navy. Saturday, the cadets and the midshipmen will meet in New York and do battle on the gridiron to see who has the best branch.
I see GCB is in the chat under our.
Is he? Oh, no.
He said bad news. In my defense, I did not know that StreamYard would not stream if our storage is filled. Oops. Did not see that coming. So I fixed the issue. I got some stuff off my computer, and I'll be fixing it over our break. If we can just make it to Monday's show, I'll be happy. I've been doing finals. I'm brain dead.
Oh, hey, Alan Walker. Alan Walker, I see you're in the comments. Congratulations to you and Kelsey on the new baby. He is beautiful. Ooh, love the name. That's awesome.
Congrats. Everything is slow on my end. Yes, I do need a hard drive for Christmas. We've processed a lot of information, had a lot of great episodes on here, so I will be switching that over to a hard drive the majority of our episodes during Christmas break.
We got one guy. He said go Air Force. They already lost. It's Army Navy week.
I have to say go Navy because my father was a Navy guy. GCB says we're slow. Let me
GCB slow.
kind of does freeze like every episode. Let me just do some checks and we'll just do it how it is. This is the most relaxed show, and then the funny part is we were so relaxed on like the last two of SCV chat shows. Like I even showed will I get in trouble on Facebook for putting that comment up? I don't know. Connors.
Oh, nah.
Let's
get on the news. Come on.
Let's go on to the news.
Chuck Mac's in the back going, why can't I be on fooling around with these idiots? Let's read the news.
Bless his heart.
Yeah, the news. All right. What am I doing here? You got this. Florida Division members of the 11th Brigade, 15th Brigade, Florida Mechanized Cavalry came together for the Thanksgiving Christmas party hosted by the Confederate Cavalry Camp 2181. Where'd y'all hold it at? Where was it at? That's a neat room. That looks like a VFW or something.
It is a neat room. Let's see here. I completely forgot what I was talking about. I haven't had any sleep, so I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm just.
You took the picture down and left the banner up.
Well, yeah, no. Look at that beautiful picture, man. I mean, they were
really nice setup. Looks like a lot of fun. That's a good gathering for the Christmas party. It's
awesome.
Pretty cool. That's how you're supposed to do it, right there, man. A lot of people showed up. Good times with good friends. That's what it's all about.
But yeah, man, I love this time of year. Christmas is my favorite holiday. And I always love the fact that SCV members get together and celebrate these holidays with our SCV family. We are a brotherhood, and see that we, put that, as an importance, and we all get together is just always awesome to me. If you remember, we talked about one of the Confederate monuments in Mississippi going down. I don't have any news on that monument, but I do have some news about another monument going up in Mississippi. And let's see here. I'll let Matt talk.
The Corinth Camp of Mississippi plans to erect monument for the Battle of Farmington. One goes down, two goes up.
And that's a motto I like. One goes down, two has to go up.
David Pope, that party's two brigades, not two divisions.
Yeah. One thing I do love is seeing monuments go up. I think I've talked about that on the show to the point where I'm beating a dead horse when I tell you all my feelings about seeing new monuments go up. I love going to the dedications. I love honoring the Confederate soldiers that monument represents as their tombstone, basically their final resting place, because they were just thrown in ditches by Yankees and not really given any honor at all. So I love seeing these monuments go up. I love hearing about it. So I want to thank Don Green from the 5th Brigade in Mississippi for sending that in and telling me about it. Thank you again. And we'll wrong picture. There it is.
Is that Mr. Ricky, man? I saw this.
Mr. Ricky is a legend, man.
Mr. Ricky was the guest speaker at the Anne Eliza Johns chapter 164 UDC, reading a letter from his ancestor and his actual account of the First Battle of Manassas. That's really cool. I'd like to see that letter, Ricky. That's something I'd really like to take a look at.
Yeah. Mr. Ricky always sends something in and always, is awesome about doing that stuff. He'll send something in almost once a week. And Mr. Ricky, we can't thank you enough for that. I wish I could have been there to hear you read the letter in your program. I have no doubt that it was an awesome program. And, man, stuff like that, I love hearing stuff like that. People's story about their ancestors. Me and Connor talk a lot about ours, and Connor has a lot more stories than I do. Dad is the guy who's got the big brain and is able to figure out all the history in the household. And I'm just happy he's sharing it with me at this rate.
All right, what do we got next?
You can tell I'm just brain dead.
You are. You're a zombie.
I am. Oh, I hate finals.
Go eat some No-Dos. All right. We continue with 741's Gulf Coast Adventure Series. Chaplain, quartermaster, past camp commander Vic Smith made the trip after 6 long years to the grave of his ancestor he joined the SCV under. Colonel Joseph Octave Landry, 28th and 29th Louisiana Infantry, and the 22nd Louisiana Consolidated Regiment. Chaplain Smith wishes to thank the Archdiocese of New Orleans for allowing him access into St. Louis Cemetery No. 2, and also a big thanks to his amazing girlfriend, Melissa Place, for making the trip happen. Thanks, Victor. That's an awesome picture. Glad you had a good trip and looked like it was a fun time. I followed followed it on Facebook. I got to say, it looks like you had an amazing trip. Also, the Gators suck.
Yeah, Victor, I'm glad you had a great time in Mississippi. I know you visited Beauvoir, I think, last week, or I think a week before that. But I'm glad you had a great time. I'm glad you got to visit some of Mississippi's Confederate history. And I'm glad you got to find your Confederate ancestor. There's nothing better than going out and seeing their graves. I love doing that every chance I get to do and go home. So I'm glad you were able to do it. Let's see here.
I choked, man.
Oh, bless y'all's heart. Thank you for staying to watch the show. We are having a time.
Read that.
Let me get to the thing. The Major William Footman Camp 1950 just had their annual Christmas party this week. There were camps from Tampa, Miami, and one second, Audria. I'm pretty sure. Get on there.
Hold on, wait. Arcadia.
I'm just done today.
Miami, Arcadia present. Also, we had UDC and OCR members of Mechanized Cavalry in attendance at Captain Francis A. Hendry's house in LaBelle, Florida. It was a good time, music, prizes, good fellowship, and the Confederate Wall Florida Division 15th Brigade Commander Sean McFall. Thanks, Sean, for sending that in. I've been watching your Look Around Southwest Florida. I got to say, you guys are doing an amazing job. Keep up the good work, brother. It's pretty awesome to see that.
Thank you, Mr. Sean. I'm just, I'm sorry. It has been a day for me. I got in like 20 minutes before the show got on, so I didn't have time to read over everything. So that's my apologies. But yeah, no, I've been doing finals all day. Oh, I hate college. All right, last bit of news is from someone you guys know of. He kind of felt bad that we kind of got cut off from technical issues Monday. So
super excited about bringing this on. So the Saskatoon Furdale Fightum Camp 5279 from Saskatoon, Canada, held their annual snow cone fundraiser. Pictured as the son of Harold Philpott and his favorite flavor, which is chocolate mousse. But thank you, Harold, son of Harold Philpott, for sending in this great picture and showing us what a good time you guys are having in Saskatoon. It's nice to see all the traveling you're doing.
Just 1 second. Okay, first off, did he do the chocolate mousse thing for me giving him crap about the Pop-Tarts on Monday?
No, he just said his favorite flavor snow cone was chocolate mousse. I'm not sure what that's about, mousse.
I have a feeling he picked that just because of that. He gave me a bit of a hard time. I know y'all can't see it, but on Monday's show when we brought him on, he talked about it like there was like a great defense of a Pop-Tart break on Monday's show that I wish I had recorded somewhere. Like when he came on, he knew that I kind of made a little bit of jab at it.
Look, so. It's Chuck Mac.
You got Saskatoon all wrong. Saskatoon is known for Saskatoon berries, which is like a blueberry. So the number one flavor in Saskatoon would be Saskatoon berries. Look it up.
It is,
jelly and everything.
But the son of Harold Philpott's favorite flavor is chocolate mousse.
That's because he ain't right.
Well, he ain't wrong either. So,
no, I mean he ain't right in the head.
Well, that's true.
If you're going to be in Saskatoon, you got to have Saskatoon berries. So, but it's a good camp they've got up there. They're cold all the time.
Yeah, bless their hearts. I didn't know we had a Canadian camp until like a couple of days ago on Monday's show, actually, when he told us he was going up there. But, yeah, I think he did the chocolate mousse thing as payback. We do have the legend Paul Gramlin in the chat, past commander-in-chief. And I don't think we have anything else to cover, so...
that's why I brought Chuck Mack on. He was in the background when he's waving his hands.
It is a suspicious anniversary today, December the 9th, and this is kind of your neck of the woods, Harrison, was the Battle of Chunky River in Mississippi. I don't know if you're familiar with the Battle of Chunky River.
No, sir.
You know where Chunky River is. Okay, Chunky, Mississippi is like between Brandon and Meridian on I-20. Okay, because the Chunky River. Well, the little-known battle there, and the Yankees group was from Wisconsin, and the 19th Tennessee was on the other side, and one hero from the 19th Tennessee snuck into the Yankee camp and put up ground up sorghum in their sauerkraut. Now, if you don't know this, ground up sorghum acts as like a X-Lax. So when the Wisconsinites ate their sauerkraut that night, they were not able to defend themselves, and it was a glorious victory for the Confederate forces at Chunky River. And that young man from Company E in 19th Tennessee was Private, if you can see that, Private Barton Philpott. From 19th Tennessee in the Battle of Chunky River. There he is. I'm sure that's probably one of Harold's ancestors.
I don't know anything about his ancestors. It could be. We'll have to bring him on the show to talk about that.
Private Barton Philpott. There you go.
Why didn't he even bring up Barton Philpott when we were chatting with him the other day?
Because he was defending.
He don't want to brag.
Yeah.
You know, the great sauerkraut spiking incident. I mean, it's really not known, but it ought to be known more. So here's the Battle of Chunky River and Private Barton Philpott.
Dang, that's something, man. I bet the son of Harold Philpott does know that.
He probably does. He just like to brag.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't brag a lot.
All right. So you want me to get to it now, Harrison?
Yes, sir. Take it away.
All right. Well, I got several things I want to talk about. Told them earlier we're going to get to football here because that isn't around the Confederation thing, especially this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
But first of all, they want to talk to me about Stephen D. Lee Institute, which is coming up in February, and I think Moose will probably run the link across the screen and the links on the SCV page and all that.
It's also been pinned in the chat, so usually the comment comes over your comment section. But that's the website.
Daryl, I see you in the chat. Stephen D. Lee, as y'all must remember, was a Confederate general in the Western Theater. After the war, he was I think the first superintendent of the Vicksburg battlefield, military park. He was also president of Mississippi State. And last I was time with Mississippi State, they still had a bust of him on the parade ground.
Yes, sir.
And he is also who gave us the charge as far as to the sons of Confederate veterans. So that's why he's a prominent person that's named after. And what it is, it started out as a academic resource. You know, we were back in the 90s and early 2000s when heritage battles were really, really heating up. We needed an academic base to train our troops, not just go out and say, leave my flag alone. We needed to know why and the root causes. I know that's a catchphrase these days, but we needed the academic basis of why the Confederacy existed, what their legal reasons for existing were, what they were actually fighting for as far as American political theory and American heritage goes, and why they were on the right side of it. So we needed that kind of an education. So we started this seminar once a year that focused a lot on Confederate history, but not so much the battles, but the whys and what fors and the philosophical underpinnings of what the Confederacy stood for, which, of course, were the original philosophical underpinnings of the American Revolution. And so this was to give our members more of the gravitas when they came to making the argument for the Confederate cause and the Confederate state. And so that's kind of how it's been for the last, 20 years or so. This year, it's going to be a little different. We're titling it the 21st Century Confederate. And instead of studying what happened in the past or what our groundwork is, we're going to talk more this time about things we can do going forward, how we're going to adapt to the modern landscape. And you've all heard the saying, that any battle plan is over once the first shot is fired. Well, how many shots have been fired since 2000? So how many battle plans have gone out the window? So we need to start forward thinking. And so this Stephen D. Lee is going to be people talking about things we can do to adapt to the future. It's going to be at Beauvoir, which a lot of our members have not had a chance to ever be at. So they'll get a big kick out of that. We'll start registration on Friday afternoon, because your registration for the Stephen D. Lee also covers all your entrances to Beauvoir. So you can come Friday afternoon, be registered, and you can take the tours of the house and the grounds. And there's a lot to see there. You've got the library, you've got the Confederate cemetery, you've got the tomb of the unknown Confederate soldier, the house. You can spend all afternoon doing that. The first speaker we'll have will be the guy that runs Beauvoir. They call him CFO, CEO, whatever. We'll kind of give you the history, but I also am going to have him talk about things that Beauvoir does to engage the local community and be a part of the local community and the landscape. And that way they're more accepted. We're doing a lot more of that at Elm Springs these days too. And so, but Beauvoir's been having to do this for a long time. And Elm Springs is off to a really good start with the museum opening last weekend with Santa Claus there and all the people that came, that sort of thing we'll talk about. And then we're going to have Dean Stevens, who's our head of our internet services and tech committee. I'm going to get him to talk to our members who a lot of them don't know anything. I mean, they can watch Facebook here, but if you ask them what a subreddit is, they ain't going to know. Mm-hmm. And a subreddit is where a lot of these battles are being fought. I've continued for years. Some of you young guys know, why come we've never had one of our guys on their Ask Me Anything episodes? Are y'all familiar with that? Reddit will do a thing, Ask Me Anything, and they'll have a head of some organization will come on there and answer everybody's questions. We ought to be doing stuff like that. Why does the SCV not have a dedicated Twitter account?
Well, Twitter shut down. Like my camp had a Twitter page, and we got shut down. We got trumped.
Well, that's because you were probably posting on it, Matt.
I might have been in Facebook jail a couple of times.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about a Twitter account where all we're doing is putting out statements and information. We're not going to be getting into Twitter wars with people. It's just a way for us to make a public statement. But there's lots of ways to do that. So he's going to be talking about the landscape. Also, how do our members need to protect themselves out in the cyber world? You need to have things like VPN and malware programs and things like that. And here's a tip I'll give you now. I know a lot of people on Facebook love to play the little games. Well, how many of you can say this? And there's a whole list of things if you've done or not done. Well, how do you think hackers figure out your password?
Yeah. Yeah, when there's a thing on there that wants your mother's maiden name, you probably shouldn't fill those out.
Well, who was the name of your first grade teacher and all stuff? Oh, we'll play. Look, I got 20 right. Well, that's how they figure this stuff out.
See, it's a real good thing that I've pretty much blocked out my entire childhood, so I can't remember any of that stuff.
Well, I just don't answer them, or I give fake answers. That's always fun too.
I do
mess with their algorithms a little bit. But see, anyway, so that's a lot of stuff he'll talk about. And then to round out the morning, we've got this guy from Alabama who some people find boring, but if you really pay attention, you might learn something, because he's going to talk about the aspects of the culture that we're living in now. His name is it Harold Jones? No, it's Carl Jones. He'll be talking about that. And then in the afternoon, we'll have a 1-2 shot. We're going to have Commander Gramling and Donnie Kennedy doing how we're moving forward with Dixie, making Dixie great again, and the Confederate Legion and all that stuff, and a lot of ideas. And then it always ends up with we'll have everybody up front and have a panel discussion, and members of the group can ask questions, and we'll have a really good discussion. One question that I've had so far, I'd like to point out, yes, this is open to anybody. You do not have to be an SCV member. Husbands and wives can register and come together. You can bring your cousin. Matt, I suppose you can bring your dog if you want to, pay for his meal. We'll see.
He works.
He probably would not be the only one eating off the floor.
He's an official employee at headquarters, right?
Huh? Well, yeah. What does that say?
What just happened?
Nothing.
My computer.
So that is kind of how it's going to go. Now, I will give you one example of the kind of thing I'm talking about, and then we can come back to this later, but then I'll go to the other subject I want to talk about. So as far as how members can be more active in the modern world. Now, I'm going to give you an example now of the kind of things we're talking about being a 21st century Confederate. Used to, when some business or whatever did you wrong, the whole idea was we're going to boycott. The 1960s boycotts worked. Do boycotts work now? Most people would say no.
No.
That's because most people don't understand what the point of a boycott is. The point of a boycott, of course, the main point is to get some business to see your point of view or change what they're doing. And for a boycott to work is not for us, all of us, to quit giving them our business. It's to convince other people to not give them their business. They don't care nationwide if 30,000 of us don't go to their restaurant. But if 100,000 other people decide, I'm not going to go. So there's modern ways to boycott. It's not, don't go to their store. Y'all two are young enough to do this. If you're going to decide, if you're in a new town and you want to decide what restaurant to go to, what's one way you might decide to do that?
I asked the locals.
That's one way.
Yeah,
I'm on
also
TripAdvisor or Yelp.
Yeah, Yelp or TripAdvisor or
right.
I use all those.
So is some business that gets a 1-star rating liable to get business? No. So if you got some business that's not being right, and we decide to give them not good reviews, the boycott's working because people will see a 1-star review and they won't go there. So that's a modern cyber boycott. And it just worked. If you saw it in San Francisco, there was a little coffee shop that wouldn't let 3 policemen in. Well, a bunch of people went on their Yelp page and drove them down to a 1-star review, and they had to come on and make a public apology to the police department. So that cyber boycott worked. Now, I'm not telling you to do anything illegal or violate the RICO statutes or any of that stuff, but it's one way that we can have our voice heard is go and leave reviews for places that treated us right and wrong. But don't go on there and say, they didn't like my Confederate flag. Say, I was treated rudely. so that anybody, whether they like our position or not, would get the idea that this group was not accepting of everyone, though they may claim to be. So that is one idea of how you can be a 21st century Confederate. You fight on the grounds we have now. Yeah, Ron, I've got 2 or 3 of them. And that's what we've talked about before. Irregular warfare also used to be known as guerrilla warfare.
You know, I get a lot of this. I get a lot of this, Chuck Mack, and throughout the Confederation and throughout, especially in our membership. A lot of guys flat out refuse to use computers or the internet or smartphones. Or some of them have smartphones and believe that because they don't use computers, the government isn't tracking them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know everything. I want to say hello to my agent that watches me all the time. I know you're there. Love you, guy. Appreciate what you're doing.
Well, you know, my agent, I hope my agent's fairly entertained most of the time. It makes this little this tax money there worthwhile. But
I mean, most of the time,
it's more than social media. It's things like not Yelp, just reviews, but book reviews.
Yeah.
You know, you can leave a business review on Google Maps, not just on Yelp and stuff. You can go on Amazon, book reviews, all kind of places, national parks. You can leave a review saying they were telling an incomplete story of this battle without saying, oh, we got to have the Confederate stuff, and all this sort. So there's all these things, you know, say, oh, I don't use computers. Okay, well, would you have told our ancestors they weren't allowed to use the telegraph?
Yeah.
You know, you only can send it by courier. You can't use the telegraph. No, the telegraph was an important technology at the time. In the war.
I mean, I have decided that maybe we could use the what do you call that thing on top of the museum? The pergola or whatever it is.
The cupola.
Cupola, that's it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about making that a homing pigeon place, and we could just send homing pigeons to our members.
Only if you're going to mop it. I thought you were going to come up something good with saying putting a 5G transmitter inside of it that only we have the frequency for.
Yeah, that would be a good idea too.
So there's a lot of these things like that. I'll give you another one before we move to another thing. Everywhere you go, there's some things you should always have in your vehicle. One, Donnie Kennedy, your little, your Make Dixie Great Again newsletters, the Confederate Legion newsletter. You should always have some of those to leave. You don't know when you're going to go in a store, a barbershop, or whatever, and leave them laying out. You go into the books. Anybody that still goes to the bookstore, go to the Civil War section and leave some of those stuck in the books back there when people want to read about the war. One of the things I always did is the books I didn't like, you know, the ones that were like pro-Lincoln, I stuck them toward the back, and I would find a copy of The South Was Right, and I would sit it right in the middle with the facing straight out to where that's the first thing you saw when you walked up to the aisle in the bookstore.
Well, you know what I like doing, Chuck Mack, is I like taking the Re-Killing Lincoln off and putting on the biography of Lincoln, and then putting Re-Killing Lincoln on, you know.
Or The Real Lincoln by De Lorenzo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know, let's say this. There's all kinds of things we can do. You should always have some stick flags with you. So if you go by a cemetery and you see a Confederate stone, go over there and put a flag on it. And somebody will go, oh, well, people haven't forgot. Somebody came by and put a flag on this guy's grave, you know, or a courthouse that still has a monument. Go stick a flag on it. People go, oh, there's people out there that still care about this. There's subtle ways that we can let people know that our heritage is alive and well, and there's a lot of us that still care about it. You know, another thing is I used to do, still do windshield cars, like a little note card. You see a car that's got a Confederate flag sticker or license plate, carry around little note cards that have contact for the SCV on it and stick it on their windshields.
By the way,
the flag, check us out.
Those are for sale at the gift shop. You can find them on scv.org. Get them.
Buy them. Out there if people will use it.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, here's another thing you do, you know, make posts that aren't so obvious. You know, if you got a lot of friends that are on Facebook, or I only use Facebook for SCV stuff. I don't have family and stuff, but a lot of people have a lot of other people. Do stuff that's not so obvious. Don't say, join the SCV. Just put a picture of your Confederate ancestors. Say, well, this day I want to remember my great-grandfather. He served in the 19th Tennessee with Private Philpott. And don't do the spiel. Make them curious. When you have friends, just kind of go, well, where's your Confederate ancestor buried? And they're like, what? You know, it used to be saying back when I was growing up, do you know where your children are tonight? You know, and so just say, well, and just don't even ask them if they have a Confederate ancestor. If you know their family, say, well, where's your Confederate ancestor buried? And they say, well, I don't know if I have a Confederate ancestor. Door open. Well, they go, well, I've got one, but I don't know where he's buried. Door open. We get a lot of people just who are genealogy curious. And then you can start laying on them why they need to be proud of that person. So there's a lot of ways to crack the door open rather than just saying, you got to support our flag or the country's going to hell. You can get to that later.
Yeah, you got to bring them in.
Get in the door first.
You got to bring them in the door somehow.
That's right. You have to make them aware of their heritage, proud of their ancestor and their family. Nobody wants to be ashamed of their family except self-hating Yankees. I don't know any real Southerner who wants to be ashamed of their family. They may need to be, but they don't want to be, you know. So you've got all that in there that you can do. So anyway, that's some of the stuff that you get into when you start talking about 21st century Confederate. Now we can come back to that later, but I'm ready to change subject now. So do you want to do your commercial first?
What time is it?
It's 7:38. We're a little short on our Pop-Tart break, but
I can't, dude. We're gonna get in so much trouble. All right, hit it. Commercial break. I gotta get my Pop-Tart.
I'm gonna get a Louisiana.
I got involved in the SCV because I was essentially born into the organization. My father was a camp commander when I was at a very young age. It is my birthright. My ancestors fought and bled and died. Because of their sacrifice, it gives me not only the eligibility to join, but it's my duty to join the organization. Their blood flows through my veins. Their struggles and triumphs are what made my family what it was, and in a sense made me who I am today. We're to defend the Confederate soldier's good name, that he fought for a noble cause, that he fought for his home, his wife, his children, and his descendants. We're to guard his history, which to me, it's the monuments, it's the headstones, as well as the actual written history of what happened during that war. If we don't pay attention to that history, we're gonna be doomed to repeat it. We're not just some history club. We are a fraternal organization who is essentially the last guardians whose duty it is to defend American and Southern history. I'm Connor Bond, and I'm a descendant of Captain Nathan W. Slay, a Confederate veteran.
Oh no, we're live.
Because he mixes it with love. It makes the world taste good. Who can take a rainbow and wrap it in a sigh? Soak it in the sun and make it groovy lemon pie. The Candyman. The Candyman can. The Candyman can because he mixes it with love and he makes the world taste good.
Thanks for that. Dude, I'm choked on a Pop-Tart.
Well, see, in Louisiana, we make them different. They're called meat pies. They're like a meat Pop-Tart.
Oh, yeah, I've had those. Those are delicious.
Yeah. Do you know what kind of meat's in them?
I don't care.
Nobody does.
Oh, okay.
That's the point. It's whatever got run over on Highway 171 that day.
Nutri-Rat.
Could be. You know, to tell you how bad Nutri is, they can't even convince Cajuns to eat them. They kind of call them quapu and come out quapu piquant and stuff. They still can't get, if you can't get Cajuns to eat them, that's bad.
All right. Listen, Cousin Vinny, there is no such thing as vegan meat. No such thing.
No, there's a science experiment that they try to pass off as something that looks like meat.
Oh, you talking about those Impossible Burgers?
Yeah, they're impossible, all right. I don't know what the big deal is. Cows have been turning plants into beef for millions of years. Humans just now figured it out. All right.
That is actually true. It does say that on my camp membership card.
Yes.
No one's going to question what I had on my head when we came back from commercial break.
I didn't see it, but I'm very disappointed that you're not in your
I thought that was part of the video.
If you were here, you've been noticing.
I was trying not to die. Oh, I love it. Go put it on.
No.
Okay, this is before your time, but that looks like Mr. Moose from the Captain Kangaroo show.
Have you put that on yet?
That was a sneak peek for Monday.
Oh man, I can't wait till Monday. Are we all wearing Christmas costumes?
Yeah, so we're all wearing some Christmas.
All right.
Well, I don't even know if I'm on Monday. Connor,
yes, you are.
But he hasn't asked me or not.
You are.
Yeah, so you on surprise.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll put something together then. Okay. Now, I want to go into football. And first of all, I want to answer something that was in one of the comments.
Okay.
So it said, typical Southerner cares more about BLM football and federal organizations.
Let me find it.
Yeah, well, you don't have to. I saw it.
First of
all, you ought to listen to what I'm going to say first before you make a comment on it. I just said we were going to talk about football. I didn't say what we were going to say about it. Okay. So, Southerners have, yes, real Southerners care about college football. But I'm going to tell you why. First of all, 2019 national champions, the one and only team to ever go 15-0. Including this year. And Tigers, named after the Louisiana Tigers, the Confederate soldier, not the animal. So there's your Confederate link right there.
That's
the Louisiana Tigers, which were some of the most vicious, hardest fighting troops in the Confederate Army. And that's who we're representing.
Lee commented on them often, his Louisianans.
Do what?
Lee commented on them often.
Yes. Robideau Wheat could control them. And after he got killed, the only guy that controlled him after that was Dick Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he became the commander of the Louisiana Brigade and the A&V. Okay. Southerners are people of place. We get that from our Celtic roots. It's all about home, our place, where we come from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With Yankees, it's more about your class and your social circle and who you know than what your place is. So when the sport of football first started in America, you had what they call the game, which was Yale and Harvard. Okay. I think one of those is in Massachusetts, one of them in Connecticut, but it wasn't Massachusetts versus Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
It was Yale versus Harvard. My group of snobby elites versus your group of snobby elites. And there was no place or no regional loyalty at all involved. It was all about who you know, what you know, all that sort of thing. Now, there was a famous story I heard. This guy who was a professional bass fisherman on the bass circuit. And at one time, all the Southerners always won the bass tournaments until a couple of Yankees came along, like Roland Martin and Kevin Van Dam. They said, well, how come you Southerners are so good at this? And I think it might have been Bill Dance or Jimmy Houston that told them, well, while y'all were running around bragging about winning the war, we were learning to catch bass.
Yeah.
And that's why we won. Now, if you look at football, you don't see in the South Yale versus Harvard. You see Georgia versus Florida, Tennessee versus Alabama. What you might call a war between the states.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it is still our state identity. You were talking about you never went 1 minute to the University of Georgia.
Yeah.
But
never.
yet you are a diehard Georgia fan because that is your place of identity.
Yeah.
It is part of your identity to be Georgian. And
Yeah.
their football team is a representation of being a Georgian.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how woke they are or whatever, you got a whole, it's hard to get rid of a loyalty like that. Like I was telling you earlier, my uncle played on the 1958 LSU championship team. And so they won it when I was 1 year old.
Yeah.
Kind of like you.
Yeah.
They won it again when I was 44 years old. So
I got one more year to go.
You're not there yet. And literally in 2003, I stood my little 9-year-old son in front of the TV and said, "Look at this. I have waited my whole life for this to happen."
Yeah.
So yeah, you got a lot of woke players, but I guarantee you this, any product you buy, you got wokeness involved in it somewhere.
Well,
whatever vehicle you're driving, whatever grocery store you're shopping from, whatever computer you're watching it on, they got wokeness involved. The idea is to turn it back against them and use it for us. So what I'm saying is college football is different to Southerners.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't represent the sport of football.
Yeah.
It represents our place, which is part of our identity.
Yeah.
Someone who's a diehard Arkansas fan may never have went there, what they call Walmart fans, because that's where they bought their Arkansas gear, or Alabama or wherever. That's part of their place identity, regardless of how woke the institution may have come. Your place and your identity transcends those things. Those are things that can be reclaimed by us if we fight it correctly. So I'm still going to be an LSU fan and a Louisiana Tech fan, where I also went, because that's where I'm from, and that's part of my place.
Well,
in this world,
I'll tell you this too, Chuck. Like football games, and I absolutely love the sport of football. I love watching. I mean, I love everything about it. The smell of the grass, or just the hits, the tackling, whatever, the catching. To me, it's a beautiful sport. I love it, and it's beautifully violent.
It's warfare.
It's warfare, and I
it's
don't
a war
get
between the states.
When I watch football, I don't get caught up on how woke these kids are, because the next play, one of them could be laying on the ground with a broken neck, and he ain't gonna be woke no more. You know what I'm saying? I don't get involved in that stuff. I'm there to watch a game. I'm there because it's pride for me. It's state pride. I love the history of it. I mean, I can sit here and talk about every player that ever played for Georgia for the past 30 years. It's just something. And my dad and I never had a whole lot in common, but what we have is football. That's our thing. That's where we mesh. That's what we get along on. And I got to have a relationship with my dad. And if we can't talk about anything else, that's fine. I'll take talking about football, because that leads us into other things. I spent a whole weekend with my dad last weekend, and I learned more things about my dad than I have in 40 years in those 2 days we were alone, watching the game and then nursing that loss together. It was something that will bond us forever. And if it wasn't for football, I wouldn't have that. If it wasn't for that Saturday, I wouldn't have that. So yeah, I'm thankful. I just love it. I love the game.
Now, are our universities cesspools?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But then again, who has the final blame for that?
Yeah.
The citizens do. We allow that to happen. And a lot of times, and I'll get on the other side of the argument here. A lot of times we get on the other side of it because sometimes we do put wanting to win games more than our heritage. And I'm going to pick on your school here a little bit. Moose.
That's
Ole
fine.
Miss
Attack them.
caved because they thought they could get more players and win a national championship. Didn't work out that way. Okay. LSU changed a couple of street names. They used to have a street named after Admiral Sims. They changed that. So every university's got some of that crap. But we need to be working to rectify that and not surrender the parts of it that really belong to us.
Yeah.
We need to recapture those parts and teach them correctly. If you're in Louisiana, teach your son and your kids that the Louisiana Tigers stand for those Louisiana Tigers and what they did. Even though they're not in the SEC, they're in some Yankee conference. Teach them about the Tar Heels and where that comes from and what those men actually did and why it should be proud. I'm sorry, Frank. I know Tar Heels, maybe NC State has a Confederate Wolfpack background story. I don't know. I've heard people claim all kinds of stuff. Razorbacks. I think they may have called Arkansas troops Razorbacks during the war. So there's a lot of that, but you look at it. It is warfare on the field. It's strategic, and it's between states for us. My God, I might even pull for Alabama if they're playing some Yankee team, and I would hate to do that.
Yeah.
But I might do it. If Alabama's playing Ohio State, my first wish is for the meteor to hit the stadium.
Yeah, honestly, right?
Okay. But other than that, but I'm pretty much going to pull for Southern teams over Northern teams.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Now, NFL, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
That ain't got nothing to do with our place or where we come from.
I don't really
Those
care
players are just mercenaries, and I'm afraid that's what's going to happen to college football with all this transfer stuff.
Yeah, it's going that way.
So, let me give a current college student's opinion on it. Look, Ole Miss has definitely turned its back on me. I haven't supported the university since they took down our monument. I get the whole, but they're tearing down our heritage argument. I'm in that argument right now. But if I don't fight to still have those traditions on campus, if I don't fight to teach people about these traditions on campus, then I'm the one retreating and losing, not the university. That is my responsibility as a college student here at this university. That's just my responsibility as a Southerner. Look, I'll fair to say that I told myself after Ole Miss moved their monument that I wasn't going to support them anymore. Then here comes Thanksgiving this year, a couple weeks ago. Me and my dad are both together yelling for the downfall of Mississippi State in our living room.
Well, the Egg Bowl. You got to.
Yeah, it's the Egg Bowl.
And I went to multiple games this year, with it being my last year as a Ole Miss student during the fall during football season. I was in the student section a lot. But here's a thing I don't know if a lot of people know. I am the president of the Colonel Reb Foundation. The sole purpose of that organization is to keep Colonel Reb on campus and that tradition alive. Mm-hmm. If I didn't stay a part of that, if I left that, that is me leaving that tradition behind and letting it fall to the wayside so these woke people can tear down a university that I grew up loving.
Yeah.
I love Ole Miss.
Yeah.
That's the deal.
I was raised there. But
that's
I'm not going to surrender what's part of the heritage. Besides, we got other heritage besides just Confederate heritage. Mm-hmm. It's our Southern heritage. It's my heritage as a native Louisianan. Okay, right. And I'm not going to surrender that because they get some woke president at the university. I want to fight back.
Yeah,
and you're not going to fight back if you're not in the game.
That's the point I tell people. You can look, I boycott the NFL. I don't watch it anymore. I used to watch it.
I don't care. I don't watch any pro sports.
But when they started doing what they were doing, I obviously I took it away. But here's the thing you got to understand about college. The most influential time in a young person's life is around the end of high school and college. and you get brainwashed for 4 years straight, and you tell me you don't see a difference. I see a difference in myself from having to fight that for 4 years, from fighting the daily brainwash. You go to class 5 days a week for multiple hours, 3
It
classes
makes you stronger.
and it tears you down for a bit if you don't have that education that your family gave you. I'm so blessed that I did not join or get educated on my Confederate ancestry later in life, because I'm scared how I would have turned out today. My father raised me to know my Confederate history from child.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's what we got to do as
Yes.
parents is start teaching that. I mean, I'm the same way, man. I'm only 40, and I grew up in Generation X, and that's the beginning of the internet, and really the movement that started back then. I mean, my youth was spent with the gay rights movement. Was huge when I was younger. I mean, that we grew up with that. But what I'm saying is, my grandfather was there, and he was the one that told me about my Confederate ancestry and where we came from. And you got to make these kids proud of where they came from. What they want to do is make you be ashamed where you came from.
Yeah, and
I mean, once they go after the Confederate heritage, they're just going to start going after our founding fathers and their heritage as well. And I mean, they're doing that now, right?
I tell you, this is a broader education thing. I kind of use football to get into it.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, I'm a retired educator. I taught civics and American history for 25 years in a Louisiana public school. So, and I survived. And they thought I was a good teacher. I always had a picture of Robert E. Lee up in my classroom. I didn't shy away from any of this. And you hear people go, oh, the public schools, the public schools, the public schools, get rid of them. Well, no, because the people your kids are going to share a country with are the ones that are going to those schools. A school is like a gun. We're all probably Second Amendment supporters here. And we always say the gun is not the criminal. It's the person who points it and shoots it. Yeah. Education is the same way. Education is not bad. It's who's pointing it and who's aiming it and what ammunition they're putting in it. So if we can get ourselves involved, and I know the Kennedys will agree with this, on the local level, show up at your school boards, get elected to your school boards, make your local public education what you want it to be. Because even if your kids are all right, they got to live in the world with these other bozos. And that's one of the reasons I taught high school for 25 years. I know this sounds sappy, but I'm going to say it anyway.
I got something right after you, so don't.
Is because I want a better society for my children or grandchildren and yours to grow up in.
Yeah.
So it was a calling, a duty for me to teach history and government to these kids in order to try to shape my community the way it ought to be. And I know that sounds highfalutin, but I really felt that way about it.
No, most people don't know this, but when I went into college, I was not going to be an educator. I wasn't going to teach. But when I went to college, and about the time COVID hit, I think I was going from a sophomore to a junior. And it finally hit me that, everything I've been doing in Oxford, fighting for my traditions there in Oxford, not backing down, because if we back down from that, then we lose those traditions forever. That's the whole college argument right there. But the reason I decided to go into education, the reason I want to teach history, the reason I want to teach history in the Mississippi public school system is because I feel the same thing that Past Commander-in-Chief Chuck McMichael just said. I feel a calling to that. I feel a duty for that. I know how difficult it has been me as an SCV member, someone proud of their Confederate ancestry, in 2021 of December of 2009. I know the struggles that my future kids are going to have to face, and I know it only gets harder as the generation goes on if we don't do anything. Education is extremely important. And the reason that I changed my mind, the reason that I felt a calling to that, the reason I feel like it's my duty to educate, is because it is our duty as people who know true history, as people who are raised and educated well and not brainwashed like the people that I truly feel bad for. All the woke college students I've ever met, I do not feel hatred towards them. I feel sorrow.
And they're miserable.
They're miserable.
Yeah, they're the most miserable people in the world.
Yeah.
So
They really
it is
are.
our responsibility to educate, go out, either if you're a teacher or not a teacher, but to educate these people that have just not been told anything else.
It's like the Bible says, you can be in the world and not of the world.
Yeah.
Ain't
You
that
can be
true?
in the world and still be teaching and supporting what is right and righteous, and of which our Confederate heritage is, and not let yourself be corrupted by what's in the world. And you don't have to be in it, but you can be in it, but not of it. And so that's what we have to do. You know, people know about football coaches. I don't care about football coaches. I care about the history and the legacy of where it springs from. Coaches will come and go.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
You know, somebody was saying about Nick Saban. Don't get me started on little Nicky Satan. Okay.
Here's what I care about when it comes to coaches: how many W's they got in the column.
That's all they're hired for.
That's all.
That's
I care
what they're
about.
there for. It is a multi-million-dollar business.
Yeah.
And that's what they're hired for. But but supporting your team, you do it because it's supporting your home and your place, whether they know it or like it or not. They will come and go, and we will still be here.
That's true.
My people ain't leaving.
Yeah. Amen. None of us here on the chat are backing down, and we highly encourage no one out there with the strong beliefs that we do in the SCV or not in the SCV. You fight for your Confederate ancestry. You fight for that, what you know is true. And if you look back through history, the people that stand and fight are some of the most righteous and most good people we have.
Whether they win or not.
Amen.
Yes.
You know, the great line from that great philosopher in Animal House. It comes a time when somebody has to do something completely stupid, and we're just the guys for it.
That's true.
Now, to circle back, to use a phrase.
This
is what we're going to be doing at the Stephen D. Lee in February. Is talking about how we meet the challenge of the world, how it is now, and the way it's shaping to become. So there's the closing argument there for coming to the Stephen D. Lee.
Oh man, y'all need to come to the Stephen D. Lee Institute just so you can meet Chuck Mack.
The legend.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm being derelict. Everybody that knows, you know the right salute.
Hank. Hello, Hank.
There's Hank. Let's hear it. Oh, come on. Y'all know the salute.
I'm a newbie.
Yeah, I haven't heard.
You've been to the oratory?
Connor doesn't.
That's true. I have been to the oratory, but I've usually had drinks on the way there.
Okay.
All hail Hank.
All hail Hank.
All hail Hank. And if you're really good for Christmas, somebody will bring you a John Wilkes Booth bobblehead.
Well, if you haven't tuned into that show, please go back and look at the John Wilkes Booth hero or villains episode that we did.
Now, the story behind this, the company just started making Civil War bobbleheads, and then they won a booth. And some people went into like a national park and went, "You got a John Wilkes Booth bobblehead?" They're like, "Oh, we didn't realize it." The whole big stink started. And I got online before they cut them all out and ordered about 6 or 7 of them. I gave Paul Gremlin one for his retirement one time. So I still got a few of them left.
Hey, wait, does this place still make these things?
I don't know. Headquarters ought to sell them.
Yeah. Hey,
it's called thebobblehead.com was the website on the box.
Okay.
Thebobblehead.com.
Thebobblehead.com. I'm going to be getting on that.
Yeah, I need target practice.
Of course, now that we've said it on the chat, it'll all be sold out before you get to them.
I know.
You might have to make a special order.
I wonder if they'll do a J-Bo bobblehead.
We need to.
Oh, you can do that.
And you got to have them on.
We can put his bobblehead on a T-Rex body.
Well, during mine and Chris Sullivan's term, Mark Simpson, they had a bobblehead. There's a bobblehead of Mark Simpson sitting around at headquarters somewhere right now.
I would like to find that. That's what I should do.
It's even in a little box that's made to look like a theater booth.
Oh my God. A GCB bobblehead.
Oh no, that will go to his head literally.
It would be all head and no bobble.
Oh, yes.
All right, well, let's just remember one more time the Honorable Barton Philpott and his sacrifice at the Battle of Chunky River.
Thanks, Barton Philpott. And I'm sure the son of Harold Philpott. I hear that he might join us Monday night. What do we got coming up on Monday night? We got to tease the Monday night show before we get off here.
Well, if I'm supposed to be on, I can tell you what I'll be doing.
We got an interesting show for y'all Monday. Before I talk about that, please go to www.StephenDLeeInstitute.com and be able to start registering for the Stephen D. Lee Institute. Great way to learn, great educational stuff as we've all discussed tonight, and it will be focusing on how to combat the stuff that we are facing in today's world. And we a moose with a loose tooth bobblehead. Okay.
Something wrong with Benny.
But yes, please go support that. It is tagged in the chat. It will be posted on our Facebook page afterwards. And of course, it is linked on the screen right now. But this Monday is the season finale of season 2 of SCV Chat. It will be Monday at 7 o'clock Confederate Standard Time. It is our Christmas special, so it's going to be relaxed. We have some great things for you. The gag video from this year's season will be there. I will be in a moose costume. Everybody will be very festive. I will try to have some type of Christmas stuff behind me. I really don't know. I'm leaving to go home Monday. So that will be an interesting Monday. And we will have everything fun, and we'll have a great time. So we highly recommend you guys show up for Monday. Tonight was the season finale of Look Around the Confederation Season 1. So please share this video across your Facebook and social medias. And if you have not seen it, please go to YouTube's SCV Chat and subscribe. And watch it there, like it, and support us here. And again, please share. Share it to any places we need to get it out there too. The Stephen D. Lee Institute, as our lieutenant commander said, is the best way to educate yourself so you can educate others.
I would like to say to compatriot McCoy says, love y'all. Love you too, Randall. Chip in anytime.
Yeah, Randall, we thank you for the comments. We love a good, respectful debate on here. And you brought up a lot of questions that we were able to, I feel like, answer, and it gave a great talking point. We talked about that for a lot longer than I thought we would. And of course, please remember, we will be taking a break from Look Around the Confederation. But when we are back, we're going to be asking you once again, if you have a camp or division project you would like to talk about live, or if you have an event that you have attended in the past, please send your pictures, short videos, and write-ups to scvyouthoutreach@gmail.com to be featured on Season 2 of Look Around the Confederation, coming sometime in January.
Yeah, Season 2 is going to be Look Around the Confederation with Candyman and Moose, too. We're renaming it.
We're getting a rename, and we're going to be trying to do a new intro.
Right.
I haven't done it, so it's going to be interesting to make the new intro.
Right. We're also going to be shamelessly plugging a lot more FCV merchandise on Look Around the Confederation.
I wonder why we're doing that now. But
because I said so, that's why. No.
Because, like the preacher said, I'm here to talk about the hereafter. It's your money I'm here after.
What? Hey, Bill, I don't. Did you get anything from Bill Elliott?
What did you send, like an hour before the show started, or did you send like a little bit earlier? Let me pull up our email. I'm pulling it up now. My computer's a bit slow, and I can't see anything, so just give me 1 second. Let me check. I thought I fixed this problem if you did send anything in.
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. Huh.
Well, we apologize, but we'll get that fixed.
Yeah, no, I thought I already fixed it is the thing that is confusing me. And I should have seen it. Something's not right here. I'm not seeing it whatsoever going through our email. But Bill, if you could send that to us again, I deeply apologize. Yes, my computer runs on Moose Power, and that is super unfaithful. So if you could send it again, we will happily have it on the first episode of Look Around the Confederation. I've got no idea what's happening. I'm checking the email right now. It's on my computer. But
okay, all right. You're rambling.
Yeah, it happens. It's basically the whole show when you're not here is just me rambling.
Yeah, I know. All right, hey, listen. Seriously, join us Monday. Do I see? Is that the son of? Is that the son of Harold Philpott coming on? Oh man!
Did I send him a link?
Yeah.